Hi everybody, this is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. I'm just going to jump in tonight. I want to do a little something. I want to just make a video while picking out my tomatoes to plant this year. Just do it all at one time, because what I have found is that I just have not had the time lately to just sit down and peruse through my tomato seeds like I'd like to. I have other seeds I need to go through too. I need to pick out bush beans, peppers, but I have to start somewhere. And I'm getting my seed starting racks built. I started that today. However, I'm inside tonight and I thought, well, let me go through my seeds. Let me figure out what I'm going to grow. And then I thought, well, because I didn't end up getting to film like I wanted to today, I filmed, but it was just me with my hair blowing and I couldn't do audio because of the wind. So it was terrible. So I thought, let me just film a video of me kind of going through this process. And I want to kind of tell a story. And this is what I'm going to kind of do with this tonight. I'm going to kind of have what I would call a beauty contest with all my tomato seeds. And here's what I'm talking about. When I was younger, my mom worked when we were in upper elementary and junior high and everything. And so we were home by ourselves all the time during the summer and stuff. And just being bored, and I was very creative. I used to have these beauty contests with our Reader's Digest books. Not the little paperback Reader's Digest that a lot of people got. But my mom had this whole big bookshelf full, this big row of these hardback Reader's Digest that were about 1.5 inches thick. And the spines on each of the books were all the same color, like black or whatever. And then they had the writing on it, Reader's Digest in gold. And but the sides of the books, the front and back cover, they would do in a different design for each issue, each volume. And it was kind of like they used almost like wallpaper to put on the sides of these Reader's Digest. They would be paisleys, geometrics, stripes. It was just beautiful. Florals and everything. It was kind of like they had wallpaper on all of them. So I used to just love looking at them. So I would sit there sometimes when I was really bored, and I would have kind of a beauty contest. And then I would pick out my top 10, and then I would narrow it down, and then I would think, and eventually I would end up picking a winner for that day. Well, when I picked that winner, the next time I did it, I would eliminate that one and then try to pick and do the contest out of the other ones another day. But it just reminded me of this, because that's kind of what I do when I'm doing seeds sometimes. There are the reasons to grow just the things that you know will bloom and grow and produce. You're pretty sure they will. So there's a reason for growing certain ones like that. There's a reason for trying some new things because you've heard they're really good. So there's those reasons. There's a reason you might want to grow them because it's an heirloom. You might want to do it because it's a hybrid and you're going for production or whatever. But sometimes it's just an emotional thing. Sometimes I like to just try different varieties sometimes just because. I don't know what it is. Maybe they caught me with the packaging. Maybe they caught me the way they wrote it up in the catalog. Maybe it's the name. Maybe I can tell you what, it's probably the story behind it, because I love stories behind things. So when I kind of feel like it's probably an heirloom, but with a story, that gets me a lot of the times. And now, those don't necessarily transfer over to being a big, huge, productive tomato that you would want to grow on scale to sell, because it may not produce that way. But I like to try them. What I decided to do tonight for my little beauty contest is I put the tomatoes in different categories. And I want to pick some tomatoes from each category, or maybe not. We'll just have to see how that goes. And then I'm going to put them into 3 separate piles. No matter what category they're in, they're either going to go in a definitely pile, they're going to go in a maybe pile, I may grow it, I may not, or they're going to go into a nope pile. I just feel like it's just simple as that. It's either going to be something I've kind of already decided in my mind I'm going to grow again because it did good for me, or because it's just the year I want to try that one. It's just the year I want to try it. And there may be no other reason but that. It's just the year I want to try it. Or it's probably this pile is going to end up this tall, because you don't want to do this one this tall and try to grow way too many varieties than I can handle on my brand new property. And I don't even have gardens in right now, but it's coming. I'm getting it. But anyway, this pile is probably going to be to here, but we'll see. This pile, there's going to be a few in it. There's going to be a few in it, I can tell you. But I still have the seeds. I'm still going to run through it. And I'm going to try to be objective. So what I did was I put it in red heirlooms, red hybrids. I just feel like you need to kind of bust those up separately because there's reasons for growing this one or that one, and we'll kind of talk about them as we go. Then I've got just a few of these categories, not a whole lot, but I've got orange tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, some pink tomatoes. I've only got one true green tomato. I'm gonna throw that one out there. Some black tomatoes, and then I've got a few I just put in a pile as ox hearts. I just wanted to break those out separately because though they could be pink or red, they're still a beautiful ox heart shape, and I just wanted to break them out separately. Then I have a few over here in a pile of Roma tomatoes, or paste, I guess we should say paste tomatoes, because there's a paste tomato called a Roma tomato. So we'll just say paste tomatoes. And then I have a pretty good little stack of, I'm just calling them all cherry tomatoes. They may be cherry, they may be grape, they may be pear, they may be saladette. I just put them all in one pile, and we'll go over those. So that's what I'm going to do this evening. Let's just have fun. I'll talk a little bit. I'm going to try to make this video not last a gazillion minutes, but I do kind of have a lot of tomato seeds. But we're going to rock and roll, see what we can do, and see how quick we can get going with it. And I will split this screen and put as many pictures as I can with these things. But if the packet has a picture on it, I'm just going to hold the packet out. I'm not going to do a picture for every one. This is all my heirloom red tomato seeds. The first one is the Homestead tomato. Now this tomato's been around for many, many years, and it was designed or bred to grow in the heat. I got that. We got heat down here. So I'm going to put it in the maybe pile. But I'll be honest with you, it's just, sometimes when you just buy a little average packet at a store, I think I got this at Tractor Supply last year or 2 years ago. It doesn't really have an exciting story behind it. But other than the fact that it is bred for the heat, that gives it a plus. And it probably will do fine. It's just, to me, kind of one of those boring ones. But I'm going to put it in the maybes. The next one is an heirloom called Delicious. These are supposed to grow like 1 to 2 pounds. These Delicious tomatoes by Burpee are supposed to be huge. Now this one is an heirloom from Johnny's called a Nepal. I got my catalog out just so I could kind of show you, because Johnny's has no pictures on theirs. It says that this is a 10 to 12 ounce, medium large, globe-shaped, bright red fruit. They are rather soft but meaty with plenty of old-fashioned tomato flavor. So when they say they're rather soft, sometimes if you're going to be shipping tomatoes or doing anything, you don't want to grow a soft one, but that doesn't matter to me. Let me back up. I put my Delicious in the maybe category. The Nepal, I think these seeds from Johnny's have really good shelf life. I trust these seeds. I have had this at least a year, if not a little bit more. I'm thinking I'm going to put it in the nope category for right now. It's probably one that would grow great. I'll reevaluate each category at the end, but I think I'm going to put it in the nope and just hold off. I think these seeds will be just fine if I hold off. Now, this is another one from Johnny's. It's called a Moskvich. Now, this one, same thing. Its fruits are early. It's a 60-day tomato. That's a plus. It's deep red and cold tolerant. Don't really worry about that. It has a rich flavor, smooth and globe-shaped, 4 to 6 ounces. Now, that's a smaller tomato. That's about half the size of the Nepal. There's a part of me that does want to try this one this year. And I had thought about it not too long ago because I remembered I had these seeds. And it's a smaller tomato, but it's only 60 day. And I think I might go ahead and put it in my definitely pile. I might. Last year I grew the early girl, which was an early tomato, and it did good. It did good, but it didn't impress me too much with the flavor. And I was thinking I might replace it with the Moskvich this year. Just seeing. Next seed is called Super Sue tomato, and it's by Seeds for the South. I think I'm going to put this one in the definitely column. When I did my research, it said this tomato was heat tolerant and was bred for dry conditions. Now it's an heirloom. It was bred back in the 1960s, but it was bred to grow in high heat, dry conditions, which we had last year. And if the people that are talking or say are right, we're going to have a hot summer this year. So I'm going to put this in my definitely category to go along with another tomato. I'll pull it forward and talk about it next. I'll tell you why I'm going to grow both of them. It was this Atkinson. I grew an Atkinson tomato last year. I had a bunch of those plants. Atkinson as well was developed for high heat temperatures in the deep south. I grew it last year. It did great. Now my plants didn't get very big, but they set tomatoes on there like crazy in big bunches that looked like just big bunches of apples hanging on trees. It was wonderful. They didn't get that large. They're pretty compact, or maybe that was just how they grew at my house. I don't know. But they did great. So if I could have a few Atkinsons out there and a few Super Sues and just see how they do, and both of them are developed for heat, that might hedge my bets a whole lot, and I might end up with a good bit of production. The next one is a Marglobe. I did grow these last year as well. This is a smaller tomato, which no big deal. It did great. It did great. Marglobe also is another tomato developed for the South. And that's why you'll see a lot of some of these in these co-op seed packets, because the co-ops around here normally only sell the varieties that they know really grow for the area that you're in. And so they sell lots of Marglobes down here. And they did do good last year. They did really well for me. But they're a smaller tomato, and I'm already going to be growing maybe the Moskvich that's smaller. I don't see a big reason to grow the Marglobe again this year. It wasn't like the flavor just knocked my socks off. I'm going to put it in the nope just because there are others I'd like to try, and I did try this one last year. But it is a good tomato. I'm not criticizing the tomato. It grew. It has tomatoey flavor. It just didn't knock my socks off. But it wasn't a bad tomato either. This one, I'm also going to maybe put in my definitely. It's called a Rutgers tomato. This was the top of the line tomato for many, many years. Campbell Soup Company had it bred, designed for their production, for all their soups and things. It was just the old tomato that all the commercial people went for. And I think it was bred out of a university for this reason. Now it's not so much used in that way because they develop a lot of varieties now that are easily harvested by machines, and this is not one of them. But I would like to try it. I would like to try it. I think, from what I've heard, it's a fantastic tomato. I'm going to put it in my definitely pile, and we're going to see. I wasn't sure my definitely pile would grow this fast, but it's kind of growing. Okay, this one is called Eagle Fork Big Red. Now, these little packets are small. I know it's hard to see these little packets. But I'm not growing it this year. I'm going to put it in my note pile. But I am going to grow it in a couple of years. I ordered a lot of different, very old type heirloom seeds from a company called Sustainable Mountain Agricultural Center. And their website is www.heirlooms.org. It's just a wonderful little website. I encourage everybody to go to it. It sells pretty much tomatoes and beans. And they sell all kind of varieties that are just been grown in the mountains around North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, places like that. And it's just some heirloom varieties you never see. This is one of them. It's a red tomato. I'm not going to grow it this year, so I'm going to put Eagle Fork in my nope pile right now, but I will try it later. But I had a couple of other ones that are in my mind to maybe try from them this year. The next one is the Ace 55 BF tomato. This is Bentley Seed Company. It says it's a mid-sized fruit with a hearty flavor. It's been around for 50 years. Um, I'm going to put it in my nope pile. If you know anything about the Ace 55, let me know. I think it's been around a long time. Uh, it's just, I don't know why it's just not knocking my socks off to try it this year. I'm putting this in my nope pile. It's the Arkansas Traveler tomato. I'm going to put it in my nope pile just because I keep hearing people say that they don't care for it a whole lot. That they tried it, but it's not a great tomato. I could be wrong. And if you live in Arkansas and this is your favorite tomato, just give me your feedback. But I just keep hearing that it's not that great. I actually bought these seeds in Arkansas, in Russellville, Arkansas. I do want to try it at some point. I'm going to put it in my note for this year because I'm just not ready to give it a spot yet when I keep hearing such lackluster things about it. This is a Nostrano Grasso from South Georgia Seed Company. I would love to grow this, but I'm going to put it in my maybe pile. That is a maybe. I really do want to try it at some point. This is called a Costoludo Genovese tomato. And I got these seeds. They're by Lake Valley Seeds. There's a feed and seed near me, and this is the brand they carry. And they're the only place that I've ever seen that carries this brand seed. So I haven't been familiar with it. I haven't grown much. I haven't grown anything from this seed company because I just started shopping at that little feed and seed recently. So if you know anything about Lake Valley Seeds, let me know. But I have heard good things about the Costoludo Genovese tomato. And I think I'm going to put it in my maybe pile right now. Now this one from the same company, and I got it at the same place, is called the Brandywine Red. I'll be honest with you, I was neither here nor there about the Brandywine tomatoes, and then just all of a sudden in the last week I've heard 3 or 4 reviews talking about how fantastic Brandywine tomatoes are. Now this is the Brandywine Red. I do have a Brandywine Pink seed that'll be coming up. I think I've heard good about both of them. So I'm going to put it in my maybe to reevaluate, but it might end up in my definitely before it's over with. This is just the regular Creole tomato seeds, which in Louisiana, most people want to grow Creole tomatoes. That's all they want to grow, and maybe they have great luck with them. My Creole tomatoes did not do good last year. The plants didn't, well, I've tried growing them 2 years in a row. I bought some from a nursery one year and did transplants, and they didn't do good. And then last year, my transplants did good growing in my seed tray, but they never did good once I put them outside. I did get a couple of little tomatoes off of them, but nothing great. Even though you do see beautiful ones in the farmers markets and things like that, for my home growing, I haven't been able to get it to grow that good. So I'm not going to worry about it. This is the Abe Lincoln. And I have heard 2 reviews recently that said this one was not that great. One lady said it tasted very, very good, but she only got like 1 tomato. The other review did not really care for the taste and also didn't have good production. So I don't really have time this year to grow something that you're going to get 1 tomato from. I'd love to try the Abe Lincoln at some point. It's got to be an heirloom that's hung around this long and had this much publicity because somebody's grown it and it's done well. I just don't feel like wasting my time trying it this year, but I might get to it another year. I'd love to do 1 year where I just go 1 tomato plant of about 60 different varieties. I'd love to do that at some point. This is the Mortgage Lifter tomato. So this is supposed to be huge. If they come out right, they can get huge. Very popular tomato, long heirloom variety. I'm going to put it in the same category as the Abe Lincoln. I don't think I'm going to get to it this year, but I do want to grow it. I've had these seeds a couple of years, so I need to use them. This is the Rosso Sicilian by Seed Savers Exchange. This one is one of the Costoludo varieties, which means it has all the little ribbed edges on it. It's not just a perfectly round tomato. these are supposed to be very delicious. I can see where it could, if you did want to peel it for any reason, it could be kind of hard to peel, but they're supposed to be very, very delicious. Now, this one only gets up to 6 ounces, which isn't very huge. Oh, I'm sitting here sticking it in the no pile. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile. It's a beautiful tomato. I've never actually grown one of those Costoluto varieties. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile. Did I? Yeah, put the Costoluto Genovese in there as well. I need to end up with one of those in my definitely pile, so I'm going to reevaluate that. Here's another one. It's called a canner whole, and it's an heirloom beefsteak and can grow very large. I got these seeds from Seed Savers Exchange. It can grow very, very large. I think it's originally from Germany or somewhere. Yeah, Germany. Now, this one is like 80 to 90 days from the time you transplant it in the ground. That's a pretty long tomato. I mean, that's a long wait. I know a lot of them can be 72 to 80 days. 90 days is getting a long time. However, that's a good late variety, to keep to where you keep having production coming in. That's a good late variety. But too late in South Louisiana can mean it's so hot that they're dropping all their blooms and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. Let me just put it in the maybe. I mean, there's no law that says I can't. I've got to decide this tonight. This is the Eva Purple Ball. Now it's only a 4 to 5 ounce tomato. It's not very big, but see, this one gets me with the name Eva Purple Ball. It gets me with the beautiful picture and the story. There's a story on the back, and they brought this variety to America from Germany in the late 1800s, and on and on and on. So I don't know. I want to try it. I think I'm gonna put it in my definitely pile. I kind of just want to try it. I just want to try it. Wood's Famous Bremer. Wood's Famous Bremer. This tomato is a monster, 3 to 4 inch, according to Baker Creek. This is an heirloom that needs to be brought back into mainstream creative regional cuisine. Plan on profitable harvest and juicy BLTs all fall. It's all fall, so that must mean it's a late one too. It looks good. It looks delicious. I'm going to put it in the maybe, but if it's talking about you don't get the tomato till the fall, that takes a while. This is called the Big Red Tomato. And these are supposed to get to 1.5 pounds as well. I bought these seeds at the Ace Hardware probably a couple of years ago. I really need to try this tomato. I really need to do that. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile. Don't know if that's going to end up going indefinitely. It's probably going to go to the nope, but we'll see. Okay, that's all for my red heirlooms. In the hybrids, I have the Celebrity, which I have tried to grow before. I'm putting it in my note pile. I'm just putting it in my note pile. To me, it's just boring. I could go to the Ace Hardware right now and buy transplants of celebrities and plant them. Everybody around here grows celebrities. I don't want to just grow it because everybody grows it. To me, it's kind of boring me to grow that one. So I'm just going to put it in the note pile right now. It's a good tomato. I know that a lot of people grow it and love it. It's a good tomato. I just feel like I have other ones that are just as good or better. So I'm going to just kind of do something different. This is the Early Girl Hybrid that I grew last year. It did good. It did produce early, and it produced a good bit. I only had about 5 plants, but they churned out some tomatoes. They did well. I'm putting it in my nope pile because I'm just going to substitute it and try something else this year. The next one is from Territorial Seeds, and it's called the Tasty Lee. These are all hybrids. This one was developed to have a long shelf life. That's a good thing. I need to pick out some hybrids good for production. I'm going to put the Tasty Lee in the pile that's definitely for right this second. But let me go through the rest of these hybrids and see if there's anything else. I bought this one from Johnny's last year. It's the BHN 589. It's an 8 to 10 ounce tomato, and it's actually good for high tunnels, hoop houses, greenhouses, things like that. And I had bought a high tunnel, and I ended up not building it because I sold it. And so anyway, I had bought some varieties for that high tunnel that I never ended up building. So that's why I have this one. I don't necessarily feel pressured to grow it right now. I'm going to put it in my nope pile. It's probably a wonderful tomato. And I'm sure you can grow it outside of a greenhouse, but it was kind of developed for that. I'm not just going to take a chance on it this year, growing it in the open. I'm just going to leave that one for now. I've got plenty others I could grow. This one is called an Estiva. It's a 7 to 9 ounce tomato by Johnny's. And I did grow it a couple of years ago. I think I only had one or two plants. It did put off some tomatoes. Nothing bad to say about it. I really can't remember it, to be honest with you. And I don't really remember the flavor of the Estiva just knocking me out. But I do remember having it, and I do remember that the one or two plants I had did put off a good many tomatoes. But I'm just going to put that in the note for now. This is a Burpee's Long Keeper. And it was developed by Burpee's years ago, but it can sit for 6 to 12 weeks on your counter. That's a long time for a tomato to just sit there without going bad. So there's good reasons for buying it, but I'm not going to be holding on to any of these tomatoes for that long. I'm going to be selling them, and people are going to be using them. So I'm going to put it in the note for now, just because I have so many other options. But maybe, I mean, that if I want to grow some tomatoes just for me to can, maybe this would be wonderful, because then you're not under the gun to just can every few days because you're worried your tomatoes are going to go bad or take up all the room in your freezer to freeze them. You could just keep harvesting and letting these just sit on your counter and then can them and everything. But there again, that's not my main objective this year. I still have a lot of tomatoes from the past years canned, so it's not my objective this year. But if that were your objective, maybe this Burpee's Long Keeper would be a good thing to keep in mind. The last one is just an heirloom called a beefsteak tomato. I'm putting it in my nope pile because it's probably fine, but it's just, there's no story. There's no, I don't really even, I just hear people saying they grew a so-and-so variety beefsteak, so-and-so variety beefsteak. This one's just called the beefsteak, and it's considered an heirloom, but it's not knocking my socks off to have to grow that right now. The next thing I'm going to jump to is the orange tomatoes. This is the Amana orange tomato. I said something about it in my video the other day because I saw that I had these seeds. I didn't even realize I had them. It's supposed to have a wonderful flavor. It's a rich beefsteak. See there, beefsteak is a exact tomato, but it's also just what they call a lot of big slicing tomatoes. I think I'm going to put this in my definitely pile because first of all, I want to try some of these Lake Valley seeds. So I'm going to put it in my definitely pile. I love a good orange tomato. And I watched a video the other day where the lady said she wants to grow it again. So it must have been good. I don't remember her exact words about it, but she did say she needs to get seeds to grow that again. So I'm going to try that one. This is the seeds for the Kellogg's breakfast tomato. It was good. I grew it last year. As you can tell, my packages have been opened. I got these from Seed Savers Exchange. I did grow it last year. I enjoyed it. I didn't get a whole lot of tomatoes off of it, though. Not a whole lot. Maybe 2 or 3 off of 2 plants, I think. It wasn't very prolific at all. For me. For other people, it might have done great. It just, last year wasn't the greatest growing year for me. The flavor was good. I grew this big orange tomato, and then I had another yellowy orange tomato that I was growing, and this one, the flavor was the best. I'm going to put it in my maybe pile this year because I think I'd rather try this Amana. This one I'm just going to put in my maybe. If I need some more slots to fill, it's a good maybe. And and it's a good tomato. It's an excellent tomato, but I don't just feel the need because I grew it last year to turn around and grow it this year. It didn't give me a whole lot of production, and there may be other ones that are just as good. I just kind of want to try some of those other varieties. Okay, these I consider my yellow tomatoes. This is the Claude Brown Yellow Giant. This is from Sustainable Mountain Agricultural Center. I did grow this one last year. I just wanted to. It said these tomatoes could get up to 3 pounds. I just wanted to try it. So I did grow it last year. I got a huge tomato. It was huge. And when I weighed it in, it only weighed at like 1 pound, 11 ounces or something, which is big. That's big. But I couldn't even imagine what it would have to look like to be 3 pounds. I mean, the one that I brought in the house was the size of a saucer. So it doesn't really matter if they get to 3 pounds. I just wanted to try it. As it turned out, though, I only ended up with that big tomato and one more that was about 3/4 of that size. And so that was all that it produced. Now, this is an old heirloom variety. I didn't end up saving seeds because I thought I'd probably get more tomatoes, and then I didn't. So that I messed up and not saved seeds. But I'm going to try it again. I've got probably 10 or 12 more seeds in here. I'll try it again. I think it's fun to grow. I think you just have to have fun with some of this stuff and grow some varieties just to try. And I did enjoy growing this one. I enjoyed watching it get that big and everything. This is an heirloom tomato called a Jubilee. It's supposed to be delicious. The description, the internet, and everything said it's delicious. It's a yellow. I'm, I'm gonna put it in my definitely. I'm putting it in my definitely. I'm not changing my mind. We're gonna see. Well, then I just oh, I got two more that I might just put them all in the definitely, and we'll see. From Sustainable Mountain, I have one called the Wilson Yellow Gold. Now, some of these are true heirlooms. I mean, they kind of look even rough in their pictures. They're true heirlooms. But I want to try them. I just want to try them. What if I just what if I just do all three? I might try me some Jubilee tomatoes. I feel like these will be a little bit more productive. They're a little bit, I don't know, more mainstream, I guess. The Wilson Yellow Gold and the Willard Win from Sustainable Mountain. A lot of Sustainable Mountains varieties are named after people from the mountain regions or people that donated the seeds or the old man who grew the seeds who ended up, 4 generations down, somebody else donated the seeds. But I love the names and stuff. I'm going to try even if I only end up with one plant of some of these, I'm putting them on there. This tomato is called the Big Rainbow Tomato. And I think it's like a yellow tomato, but then when you do cut it, it's got a little bit of red on the inside. Sounds beautiful. I'd like some feedback on this one, maybe. I've had these seeds a good while, and I don't know why I've never tried it. I don't know why. If you've tasted it, grown it, love it, hate it, can you let me know? I'm going to put it in my maybe pile for right now. And people might think I'm crazy, but this is the Dr. Weish's yellow tomato. Everybody's favorite, it seems like. I tried to grow it last year. It the okay, my plants weren't these plants weren't very hardy. They almost died from the heat, whereas some of my other tomato plants didn't and kept producing. These I had to baby. I had to end up intervening with Miracle Grow and just all kind of stuff, and they came back, and then the tomatoes came back. The plants got to looking beautiful again. They started blooming again, and then they set just some very small tomatoes. Now they had some things against them last year. We did have just a drought and a horrible heat that took out my corn and everything. It was bad, and these suffered. So I can't sit here and tell you that I even had them to taste last year because I didn't. They're probably delicious. And you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to put them in my nope pile right now. just because I don't feel like going through growing them again and babying them again this year. I know they are very, very popular tomatoes on many other channels, and I know that people have successfully grown them and loved them, and they probably are delicious. But I don't feel like growing them again this year. I'm gonna just wait like another year, just maybe one more year. This is my pink tomatoes. This is the Brandywine Pink from Hoss Tools. I'm gonna put that in my maybes. Those Brandywines, I do want to grow at least one of them this year. This is the Martha Washington from Johnny's. It's an 8 to 12 ounce. It's a hybrid, but they said it grows and tastes like a heirloom, but it is a hybrid. It's a pretty big tomato. I've had these seeds a while. I'm going to put them in my maybe and we'll see. This is a Dester tomato from Baker Seeds. I did grow this one 2 years ago. It did okay. I got a good many tomatoes off of the few plants that I had. But I didn't think the taste was that special or great. And I'm not a tomato snob. Just good old tomato flavor, is pretty good for me. But I just didn't feel like this one had a lot of flavor. That's just my opinion. It may not be yours, but it's my opinion. The Dester tomato didn't knock my socks off. I could always try it again later. Got different soil up here. Things could be different, but not this year. I'm going to put it in my nope pile for this year. This is the Rebecca Allen tomato from Baker Creek. It's just a big pink tomato. I did hear somebody mention it on their channel the other night, but don't really remember what they said about it. I do want to try to grow it. I mean, I ordered it. I order things for a reason, and I want to try them. But I may just put that in my note pile this year and get to it later. This is called Mamie Brown's Pink. It's a large beefsteak tomato. Now, this is an 80 to 90 day one as well. That's a long time. That's a long time. I would like to have at least one pink tomato in my definitely pile because I hadn't put one in there yet. I did put the Martha Washington in my maybe pile. I'm going to put the Mamie Brown's Pink in my definitely pile. And I'm going to just try to keep it there. We'll see how it goes. This one is the only green tomato I have, the true green tomato. It's Aunt Ruby's German greens, old variety, very popular. I'm going to put it in my nope pile this year because I'm just not going to just grow just a green tomato. Okay, I jumped to my black tomatoes, the dark tomatoes, I guess you would call them purples, blacks. The Cherokee purple. I'm putting it in my definitely pile. I love this tomato. This is probably this one and the Paul Robeson are my two favorite tomatoes just to slice and eat. I could just eat them with nothing on them, and I just love them. I watched a video the other day, and a lady said she tried them, and she didn't really care. She didn't really like them. I can't believe that. I think it's a wonderful tasting tomato, and I would grow it every year if I can. The Black Krim, I think, is also a very good tomato. I haven't grown it yet, but I hear about it all the time. I'm going to put it in my maybe pile because if I have room, I'll try it this year. This one is called the Black from Tula. I did grow this last year. It's a little bit smaller tomato than like the Cherokee purple. It was delicious. It was delicious. It wasn't very prolific for me, but I did like the taste. I did like the taste. I'm going to put it in my nope pile this year. First of all, because I tried it. And though it was delicious, and though I will grow it again, I have no problem with growing it again. I've got my Black Krim in the maybes, my Cherokee purple in the definitelys, and my last one is the Paul Robeson, and I'm going to put it in my definitelys. Is that, am I saying that right? Definitely. I'm going to put, so that's 2 blacks in my definitely pile, 1 black in my maybe. I don't need another black one. I don't need 4 different black tomatoes. So I'm going to put it in my note pile for right now. But I love all these other tomatoes. I don't know if I showed that one very well, but The Paul Robeson is just a wonderful tasting tomato. It's just simply wonderful. This last little category, I just have only three, but it's just Oxheart tomatoes. This one is from Sustainable Mountain. It's called a Worley Red. I might try it. I might try it. I think I'm going to put that in my definitely. This one is called the Hungarian Heart tomato. And it's supposed to get even bigger than a pound, which that's large. That's large. Um, I'm going to put it in my maybe pile. I really forgot I had those seeds. Hadn't thought about it in a while. Now this one, it doesn't say on the package that it's an Oxheart tomato, which is just kind of like a shaped like that, where it kind of the tomato comes down to a point. It doesn't say on the packaging that this Italian heirloom is an Oxheart, but I grew it last year, and number one, this was a great tasting tomato. It was delicious. I loved it. Number two, it was prolific. This tomato, for the three plants, I think I had three plants. Once it started producing, now it didn't produce big clusters of tomatoes. It didn't, but it did produce a good many for the size bushes that it was, and for the amount of bushes that I had, which was only like three. It was a good, and it kept producing. It kept producing and kept producing through the heat and everything. And it was probably my last tomato to quit producing tomatoes. So it was wonderful. And mine that I grew were shaped Oxheart like. They came down to a point at the bottom. They were unlike all of my other tomatoes. So I just feel like, personally, I feel like this is an Oxheart, even though it doesn't say it on here that it's an Oxheart. I would definitely grow this one again. This one just this one just tugged at my heart. It was just a good tomato. So I'm going to put it in the definitely pile. Let's jump really quick. This is a VB Russian. It's a pink tomato. This is my pile that is my paste tomatoes. I did grow this one last year. I had two bushes. They did okay. They did okay. I'm not going to grow it again this year just because I simply wanted to try it. I actually got these seeds for free when I ordered some things from Sand Hill Preservation Center. And I wanted to try it, and I did. So I can say I tried it. But they tasted good, and they did fine. It's a long, the vines on this one, it's a spindly. It's spindly and long. It wants to shoot out really, really far. It doesn't grow up as much as it grows out. So you really need to have some things to trellis it on. Um, this is the Martino's Roma tomato. Uh, I don't feel a big need to grow that one this year. I kind of heard some people say it's not that great, but I don't believe everything I hear on the internet. But I'm just saying, at this point in my time when I'm trying to decide, I am kind of taking some of those things into consideration. This is the speckled Roman from Johnny's, and I believe this is the one that's kind of striped red and yellow. I think this is fine. I don't. I'm gonna put it in my nope pile because simply, um, I've got a little heirloom that I'm gonna maybe grow. This is the Roma VF. So I was gonna say simply, I'm putting that in my nope pile too. I don't really feel the need this year to grow a specific paste tomato. I just don't feel the need this year to do that. I'd rather focus on my bigger tomatoes. I grew the Roma before. It was gangbusters. It produced like gangbusters, this Roma VF. The speckled Roman probably do fine. Probably Martino's Roma do fine. But I just don't feel the need this year to specifically grow a whole bunch of paste tomatoes. Um, but I'll grow them at some point, but just not this year. That being said, here's another one from Sustainable Mountain Agricultural Center. It's called the Mary Rose McMurray, and it's a little paste tomato. I do want to at least try this one. I'm trying to work in some of these that I had these all last year and I didn't grow them, and I just want to start working in some of these little heirloom ones that I bought. And this one just happens to be a paste. I'm going to try it, but I'm not growing it because I'm just wanting this big bumper crop of paste tomatoes. I just want to kind of see how this one grows. And I really want to save seeds from some of these heirlooms and try to build up a stock of seeds. Let me kind of run through these fast. This is a brand called Ildi. It's a yellow cherry tomato from Park Seeds. I've grown it before. Did okay. Nothing to write home about. It's not nothing to write home about. This is the Tumbler cherry tomato by Pine Tree Seeds. I'm going to put that. It's a hybrid. I'm going to put it in my maybe, and I may move it over or something in a minute. But I do want to try it. I do want to try one of Pine Tree's tomatoes. I've never tried a tomato from Pine Tree. I'd like to try it. We'll see. This is just a generic from my co-op that I bought some seeds from. They just say cherry tomato seed. That's all they say. I don't know if it's hybrid. I don't know if it's heirloom. It's just cherry tomato seed. 50 cents for probably as many as you get for $4 at some of these places. I'm gonna put it in my nope pile right now because I'm sorry. I need a little something more exciting to grow than that. This one is called the Black Pear. It's a pear tomato from Southern Mountain Agricultural Center. This is Matt's Wild Cherry from Johnny's Seeds. I'm going to put that in my definitely pile because my new channel that I just started following called Homestead on a Prayer. She highly recommended this one the other day. She said it's her children's favorite. They love it. That it's a wonderful tasting cherry tomato. That's all I need to know. If someone else loves it, I'll try it. I've been wanting to try it. I don't know why I haven't tried it. I've probably had this is probably my third year to have the seeds. I guess I just needed a little bit of confidence to grow it from someone else. So I'm going to put it on my list this year. This one I wanted to try too. I've had this seed a couple of years. It's just called Red Currant Tomatoes by Burpee. And from what they say, if this one touches the ground, it reseeds itself and just keeps on going and going and going. I was thinking I might try to grow some of these kind of things by the fence lines around my property, just to see if they're that prolific, if they'll reseed themselves on their own and just kind of keep growing. And maybe this will be the squirrel food that I need to keep the squirrels off my big tomatoes. But we'll see. But I do want to try the red currant. I think they're tiny. They're not very big. But I would like to try it this year. So I'm going to put it in my definitely pile. Now this is the Sakura tomato from Johnny's. And I'm probably crazy to not go ahead and try this one because Jill from Whispering Willow Farms highly touts it and grows it and has great luck with it. I just think there's a couple more I'd like to try this year, but I do want to get to the Sakura as soon as I can. I've had those seeds a little bit, so I need to use them. This is a honeycomb hybrid tomato, cherry tomato. There again, it's probably delicious. I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm not ready to grow it right now though. This is the Chadwick cherry tomato from Baker Seeds. I did grow it before, and it did fine. It's not as prolific as some of the other varieties I've grown, but it did fine, and it tasted fine. This is a Patio Choice Yellow from Park Seed. And this one I think is supposed to be really good to grow in little containers on a patio. This is Eaglehart Yellow Cherry from Seed Savers. I'd put these last few in my note pile. I don't know if I specified that, but they went in the note pile for right now. The Eaglehart Yellow came up last year in my seed trays. And as they started growing, they looked awful. I thought they were diseased. They looked terrible. All of my other tomatoes, full size and cherry tomatoes, came up in my seed trays and were healthy and thriving. These came up and I swear I would look at some of them. You just bend over to look at them and a leaf would fall off. And you didn't even have to touch it and the leaves were falling off. That being said, they they didn't completely die, so I thought to myself, I'll just put them in the ground and see what happens. They'll live or they won't. Well, once they got in the ground, they took off. And these things did wonderful. They did wonderful. They put off so many yellow cherry tomatoes. It was unreal. They just looked horrible as seedlings and as transplants. And I never thought they would make it, but they did. I'm going to put them in my maybe pile because I guess I do need a little variety. I think the other two that I've picked, yeah, they're both red. This one's, yeah, I might need a little variety, so I might throw it in there. But I would grow it again, no problem. I'm just trying to figure out whether I need to grow it again this year. But so don't, if you do try them, don't let the seedling dissuade you. They did come out good in the end. This is just your regular Fairy Morse Sweetie tomato, which is taped on the back because I grew it last year. They do great. But I've got a couple of reds already. And I know there's one coming up that I really want to grow. So I'm going to put the Sweeties and the Super Sweet 100s. I'm going to put them both in the no pile right now because I've grown them not once, but like twice. And I just want to try other things. This one last year, just the Yellow Pear by Burpee. It's an heirloom. Very prolific for me last year. Very prolific. I didn't find the taste was anything special. It didn't knock my socks off. It wasn't that sweet. It was more just tomato flavor. I think people kind of want a sweet cherry tomato around here, I find. But if you want prolific, and if you need multicolor to go in salads or do things, it's prolific. But I'm not going to grow any more this year. But it's a good standby. I did grow this last year, and I barely have any seeds left because I didn't save any seeds. But this is the Sun Sugar hybrid from Seeds from the South, Seeds for the South. It did great too. Very prolific, very, very, very prolific. The tomatoes tasted wonderful. They were orange, and nothing wrong with it. I'm just not going to do it again this year. I'll do it again soon, and I'll try to use up the rest of these seeds and save some more. But I didn't feel the need to grow it again this year. But it was very, very prolific. It's a Sun Sugar hybrid from Seeds for the South. This is a Red Pearl by Johnny's. Ooh, I don't know. Well, you know what? I may put my Sun Sugar in the maybe because it is an orange one. I'm going to put the Red Pearl in the nope because it's another red and I don't need another red. Okay, these last two, the reason I'm kind of being stingy about what I'm putting in these piles with these grape tomatoes is because I knew these last two I definitely want to grow again. This is a Robe Mountain Tomato, Robe, R-O-B-E, Robe Mountain Tomato from Sustainable Mountain Agricultural Center. I grew it last year. It's more of a saladette type size. It can be like 1.5 to 2 inches round. Delicious. They were very good, and they were very, very productive. I had probably about 5 or 6 plants, and I had tomatoes every day off of these for a long, long time. And I think I ended up pulling up the plants with tomatoes still on it at the end because the heat had kind of got them, but they were still trying to pump out tomatoes. I saved seeds for these. This is one little packet I have, but I have an envelope of seeds over there from them. They did very, very well. I would try to grow these if I were you. Go to www.heirlooms.org and see if you can get you some Robe Mountain Tomato seeds. I loved them. I'm going to try to grow them again. This was the winner for me last year. These Mexico Midget seeds that from Seed Savers Exchange. Mexico Midget. These did wonderful from the minute I put the seeds in the seed trays. They germinated well. They came up. The plants in the seed trays were just so healthy. I think all of them germinated. All of them did well. When I put them out, they just took off. And they grew into the most healthy plants. If it wasn't for the hornworms that got into a lot of my tomatoes last year, they would have had no issues whatsoever. I didn't have any issues with bugs or anything. They did wonderful. So I would definitely grow these. It's a very sweet cherry tomato. I have some cherry tomato containers from last year, just clear containers, and I'm gonna try to grow these to sell if I can this year. I loved them. They were good, very reliable. I didn't save seeds, and I don't even know why. Sometimes you just get so busy and so tired and so overwhelmed that you do forget about things like that. And I didn't save seeds from them last year, but I definitely need to save some seeds this year. As far as my beauty contest goes, the maybes I'll think about. What made it to my definitely pile was the Moskvich from Johnny's, the Super Sue tomato, and that's for the heat, and the same reason for the Atkinson, because they grow well in the heat. Rutgers, same, it's a very productive heirloom. The Eva Purple Ball, just because I love the stories and the names. Some of them are just emotional. The Tasty Lee from Territorial Seeds. I like to try to different companies sometimes just to kind of just to see how the seeds do from those companies. This Amana Orange heirloom seed from Lake Valley Seed. I want to try that. I put this Jubilee tomato, which is a yellow tomato, on there too. The Willard Win, which is a yellow tomato from Sustainable Mountain, is on there. The Wilson Yellow Gold, which is kind of an old heirloom looking tomato, but I want to try it. Mamie Brown's pink tomatoes. Why not? I need a good pink tomato. Cherokee Purple, of course. Paul Robeson, of course. The Whirly Red, which is an Oxheart tomato. The Italian Heirloom, which was a good standby from last year. It did wonderful. The Mary Rose McMurray, which is the only paste tomato that I'm going to grow. Matt's Wild Cherry. I hope that comes out good for me. The Red Currant tomato. The Robe Mountain Tommy Toe. And the Mexico Midget. Not sure how many that is, and I may have to narrow that down. We'll see. I'll evaluate these again. I'll keep these in my maybe pile, and I'll file these away for next year or the year after or the year after. We'll just have to see. These seeds will last a while. I'm not worried about it. I thank y'all for joining me tonight. This has been another long video, and I didn't mean for it to be, but I enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking to you. I enjoyed going over these tomato seeds with you. This is what I have. My collection's always growing, but I've kind of put the zipper on it right now, and I need to start growing some of these that I have before I expand any more on my collection. And I need to find out what's good, what's bad, and just really kind of get to where I know what'll produce. But also, that artistic side of me wants to try varieties, especially old heirloom varieties. And so I'm going to do that too, because life is short. Why not try a few varieties? This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. I hope you enjoyed the little contest tonight. We'll see how it goes this year. We'll see how it goes. Good luck to y'all too. I appreciate you watching and hanging in there with me for this. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.